There was a time when cartoons didn't ease you in. They didn't start with jokes. They didn't explain the rules. They didn't wait for you to feel ready. They just began with loss. A planet exploding, a kingdom burning, and a group of survivors running for their lives. Before school mornings, before streaming, before comfort. This was ThunderCats, and even as kids we felt it. This wasn't a show about winning, it was about what comes after everything is gone. Here's a strange fact most people don't remember. ThunderCats wasn't meant to be light. It was pitched as a space epic, a myth, a royal tragedy. But it had to fit into a kid's time slot. So what we got was something rare, a serious story, forced to wear bright colors, and somehow it still worked. The world that was taken away. The show doesn't begin with hope. It begins with destruction. The planet Thundera is already dying when we arrive. Cities crumble. The ruling class is overthrown. A culture ends in minutes. No rebuild, no second chance, just escape. A small group survives, not because they are strongest, but because they are left. That matters. From the start, ThunderCats tells you this isn't about heroes rising. It's about people who lost everything and still have to move forward. Lion-O, a child wearing a crown. Lion-O isn't ready. That's the point. He has power but not wisdom. A body of an adult, a mind still catching up. Every mistake he makes costs something. Every lesson hurts. Unlike other heroes of the time, Lion-O doesn't arrive fully formed. He grows up on screen, slowly, painfully. That alone made ThunderCats different. This wasn't a power fantasy, it was a responsibility story. The others, strength without illusion. Panthro doesn't dream, he builds. Chitara sees danger before it arrives, and knows you can't outrun fate forever. Tigra doubts, questions leadership, feels the weight of loyalty without comfort. These aren't side characters. They are adults carrying grief. They don't fight because it's fun. They fight because there's no home left to return to. Jaga, the ghost that never leaves. Jaga dies early and never really leaves. He becomes memory, conscience, the voice of the past, reminding Lion-O what was lost. ThunderCats understood something rare. Loss doesn't vanish. It teaches. Jaga isn't there to save the day. He's there to remind Lion-O that leadership costs something. That's heavy for a kid's show, and the show never jokes about it. Mumra, fear that refuses to die. Mumra isn't loud. He waits, he decays, he whispers. He represents old power that shouldn't still exist, but does. Episodes don't frame him as just evil. He's inevitable. Mumra isn't afraid of time. He uses it. That's why he's unsettling. Not because he attacks, but because he outlasts. Why it hit harder than we knew. ThunderCats didn't rely on laughs. It relied on mood, silence, echoes, wide shots of empty land. Even the action felt lonely. Battles weren't celebrations, they were survival. As kids, we didn't have the words for it, but we felt it. Here's the story. ThunderCats kept telling. A royal family loses its world. A child becomes a leader too early. A team tries to keep a culture alive in exile. They fight monsters, but mostly they fight loss. They don't win back what was taken. They learn how to live without it. That's it. That's the heart of ThunderCats. The limits begin to show. And then, the limits crept in. The show had to fill episodes. The toy line needed characters. Stories began repeating shapes. Lion-O still learned lessons, but faster. Conflicts reset more often. The myth thinned, not broken, just stretched. ThunderCats wanted to be an epic, but had to act like a formula. The reboots, and why they missed years later, ThunderCats returned. Once with promise, once with noise. The 2011 version tried to modernize, but didn't get time to breathe. Roar misunderstood the tone completely. It wasn't that fans hated change, they hated losing the weight. ThunderCats was never silly. It was sad and proud and careful. When that vanished, so did the magic. What we lost. We didn't lose action. We lost patience. ThunderCats asked viewers to sit with discomfort, with failure, with slow growth. That kind of story is rare now. Not impossible, just rare. Why it still echoes. You don't remember ThunderCats because it was perfect. You remember it because it treated loss seriously. It didn't promise victory. It promised meaning, and that stays with you. The loop. Back where we began. There was a time when cartoons didn't ease you in. They began with destruction. with exile, with a child staring at a future he didn't choose, a sword glowing in the dark, a voice from the past, a team holding on to what little remained. That feeling you're sitting with right now, that's not nostalgia. That's remembering a story that respected weight and realizing how rare that still is.